What if you could buy a brand new Italian-made Flybridge boat for less than £1 million? Well, let me introduce you to the Absolute 47 Fly. And if you're unfamiliar with Absolute, later on in this video, I'm going to show you how it compares to competition with an in-depth tour and sea trial. If you're considering a 50-foot Flybridge boat, don't do anything until you've watched this. I'm Jack Haines, welcome to YachtBuyer. The 47 Fly is the entry-level Flybridge model in the Absolute range, and it's just shy of 50 feet, with a length overall of 14.63 metres. With a beam of just over 4.5 metres, it's wide for its length, which lends it a, how shall I put this, challenging aesthetic, but this is partly how Absolute has managed to create such an impressive amount of internal volume, as you'll see when we step inside. It's only available with Volvo Penta IPS650 engines, and the pod drives give it a draft of 1.23 metres. Its displacement is 23 tonnes. The base price in the UK is just over £890,000 ex-VAT, but the boat we had on test came in at just over 1.1 million, including some key options such as air conditioning, a hydraulic bathing platform, generator, triple 16-inch Garmin MFDs, and a bow thruster. The funny thing is though, this isn't the only boat Absolute builds in this sector. There is a bit of an elephant in the room with the 47 Fly, and that is Absolute's own 48 Navetta. Very similar platform to this, IPS, similar layout in there as well, but it's a semi-displacement hull and you can have it with a crew cabin. There is no crew cabin option on this model. And if you want to compare those boats side by side, you can do that on yachtbuyer.com. Head to the website, use our industry-leading head-to-head tool, and you can see where the differences lie and which one might suit you best. Back to the 47 Fly though, and you'll notice, compared to maybe slightly more modern designs, there isn't much going on back here. This is rather plain. Other boats, you might have benches, you might have somewhere to cook. Not here, just this transom area. It's nice that they've tried to brighten it up with some carbon fibre, and there is a screen that drops down for some privacy and some sun protection. What is quite clever is, although the access is biased to the starboard side, there is still a narrow walkway up the port side, so you can get up there to that port side deck without having to go all the way round. What is good is storage. You have this locker here, that is all of the fenders and all the lines in there. It swallows a huge amount of kit. There's also a dedicated fender locker inboard, so if you just want this for water sports gear, that sort of thing, that is really, really useful. We have some mooring gear down here as well. You've got these nice handrails that guide you up into the cockpit. There's also cleats lower down. These are really useful in the Mediterranean if you want to spring across. Nice to have those down there. We've got the cleats on top as well. Another option is to have the hydraulic bathing platform. It is a cost option. This particular boat has got it. It's got a lift capacity of about 400 kilograms. And the nice thing about it, it's quick. I mean, it's all relative, but a lot of the time this takes a lot longer. It's even faster on the way back up. So that just drops down. Of course, if the tender's on there, the tender's going to float off. And you have a really nice way in and out of the water. You can see you've got the built-in step here. What you can't do is walk across when the platform's down. Often you'll see a little ledge or a step all the way along, so you can still move across the transom with the platform down. Not something you can do on board the Absolute. But let me show you how fast it is to come back up. Check this out. Look at that. That normally takes an age. Of the cost options on board this boat, the hydraulic platform is definitely one that I would go for. Here in the cockpit, it's a pretty simple layout really. You have this fixed aft bench. There is space on either side of the table to have some director's chairs. You can draw a few more people around here if you're dining out here. And what's nice about this design is how far back this overhang goes. Great for space up on the Flybridge, as we'll see later on, but also really good for protection here. And it also means they can work in that sunshade that I mentioned earlier on. You've got lighting here as well, strip lighting that matches the lighting on the inside, sort of draws you into the boat, which is really nice. And some speakers too, so you've got some music out here. Storage is good in here too. This is a really handy locker. You can see we've got all our shoes in there, but it's really big, goes right into the stairwell, so you can chuck cleaning gear in there. But most importantly, somewhere to store shoes is really handy. Boat hook clips up here. This is a repeater for the sound system, and you've got lighting and also the control for the sunshade. Over on this side, this is an option to have this drop down window. If you don't have that, you just have a bigger door. I think this is the way to go. This is an aft galley boat, so you want it to connect to the cockpit, and this really allows you to do that. Over on this side, so this boat has really been spec'd for the UK. If you had a med version, you'd want maybe a passerelle, also some winches so you can tighten the lines. You can see this is the base where the electric winches would go, one on this side, one on that side. You've got a little tray as well, so you can run your lines down there so they're not hanging on the deck. I said you've got this slightly narrower passage on the port side. You've also got a little boarding gate as well, so you can close it off on both sides, you know, good for safety if there are little ones on board. The other thing you have here is the shower. Look at that. Proper shower head as well. It's not an overhead shower, but at least it's not one of those tiny little Mickey Mouse ones. That feels like a proper shower head, and then just hides away down there. Lovely stuff. Right, before we head inside, let's go to the foredeck. If you haven't done so already, now's a great time to subscribe to the YachtBuyer YouTube channel. Hit like, hit subscribe, and that bell icon. You'll be notified every time we upload a new video. Right, back to this one. Onto the side decks, and symmetrical layout, so they're the same size on both sides. Fine walking forward, but I do find when I turn, my size 11s do get a bit pinched on the side deck. No railing up here, but you have got this really nice substantial rail all the way along. It is open, but it comes up to a nice height, so you do feel nice and safe as you move forward. Massive glass area. That's what you really notice when you're moving down both sides. Yes, the looks are pretty divisive, I understand that, but you do see the benefit from the inside, as we'll see when we head inside. And then right forward, of course, you have the foredeck, which is a really important space on a boat like this. It's not huge, it's sub 50 feet. You've got a lot of coverage back there in the cockpit, so having somewhere completely exposed where you can catch the sun here forward is really important. They've worked hard to try and make the most of it. You've got the table which drops up and down. You can drop that right in, infill, and have a huge sun pad here as well. Yes, there's sunbathing space up on the Flybridge, but there's quite a lot of coverage up there as well. So for the proper committed sun worshippers, this is where you want to be. Detailing's pretty nice as well. We've got deep cup holders on both sides, big enough to hold a phone, not just a cup or a can, and there are pop-up lights. And I said earlier on, you know, what sets Absolute apart from the competition? Well, they're boats that feel like they've been designed by people who go boating. You see practical detailing all over the place, outside and inside. Really nice, easy, simple to use anchor mechanism, and also big anchor locker that's easy to get to. Very easy to move around this area as well. And you see how the railing runs all the way forward. It's very easy to steady yourself, even when you're right here. This is a boat designed to be run by an owner. There is no crew cabin. So that stuff is so important. And the clever thinking continues up on the Flybridge. Now, if you like the idea of spending a lot of time in the cockpit, I think the Galleon 500 Fly is probably a better option. It is the only boat in the sector that's got those amazing opening balconies. It's got the carousel seating arrangement down there. This just cannot compete with it on that level. Up here, however, the 47 Fly feels really big. And I mentioned downstairs, you have this extension that gives you so much protection down there. It's also what creates such a lovely large flybridge. There's a lot of floor space up here for a boat of this size, and a really nice wrap of seating as well. They've really tried to maximise how many people can sit in this area. Again, you could put some chairs on this side as well if you want even more people up here. Solid teak table is lovely too. In terms of overhead, now rather bizarrely, you can have no radar arch at all. That would look very strange. You can have just the radar arch with this Bimini, or a fixed hardtop. I personally think this gives you the most flexibility. You can fully close it away, which does help with the boat's looks as well, but easy to put up, and it's got some lighting in it as well. You can also use covers to fully enclose this entire area, so you can use it in all weather if you want to. When the weather's good though, this will come into play. Underneath here, nice Kenyan grill, right next to the sink as well. It's got a little sink cover. That could do with somewhere to stow it, but you've got a sink as well with the pop-up tap, which is nice. They do use nice components. Most of the things you come into contact with across the boat, even down to the stainless steel of the catches, it does feel of really high quality. This side, you just got some storage. You can put a bin in there, I suppose. And then, of course, a fridge. So you've got some nice cold drinks up here. And that is a good size as well, isn't it? Nice to have a proper bar up on this deck. I like this seat too. The helm station's over there, but this is a place that people can sit when the boat's going along, because it kind of angles you forward. But equally, if people are at the grill or sitting back there, you can sit this way and be part of the conversation. I really like this bit of design. Another clever piece of design, totally flat sunbathing space. We all like a bit of that, but nice simple arrangement you can pop both of these up at 2 different levels and you can sit and look forward. Not somewhere we want to be when you're going along at high speed, unless it's a really warm day, but drifting along at displacement speed, that would be a really nice place to sit. And again, they think of the little things. This storage area here, that just seems so simple, but it's so useful to have, whether it's covers for the steering wheel or the helm, or covers for the screens, somewhere just to be able to put that stuff is really, really useful. Good job up here. Let's head downstairs. Absolute were some of the first to really adopt the aft galley layout, and yeah, the 47 Fly has indeed got that same configuration. It works really well on a boat of this size. The Fairline Squadron 50 that this boat competes against, you can have a lower galley, giving you much more seating space up here, but for me, I think this split of galley and seating on the main deck works really well, and crucially, it connects to this area with the bar so nicely to the cockpit. It's pretty well spec'd as well. You can see the induction hob behind me with some pot clamps as well, so they don't slide around if you're cooking, the boat's rolling around. There is a dishwasher underneath the counter on this side, a microwave down here, and this is quite clever. I thought this was a bin, but it's not. It's an ice bucket which you can leave in place there, or you can take with you. So you can fill it up, take it up to the Flybridge, bring it down, which is really rather nifty. What else? Nice big stainless steel sink, curved edges as well, so you don't bang yourself on something sharp when you're moving around. But even the sort of architecture of this handhold is nice. It's not just slapped on there. Some real thought has gone into how that looks, and you've got this sort of storage area down here, but nice high fiddles as well, so you can actually use it, put stuff on there, and things aren't going to slide around. They've not tried to cram the cooling space over on that side. There is a fridge over here. It's only got a freezer compartment. It's not a separate fridge and freezer, but it's still a decent sized fridge. And it's supplemented by wine fridge. This is just a cupboard on this boat, but you could have that as an ice maker if you prefer. And it's the little details that they work quite hard on. This is not just a flat panel of timber. They've got this sort of design section here, so these two areas look a little bit different. It just adds a bit of intrigue into an area that would just be really quite boring if it all looked the same. And you can see you've got this mix of this sort of lighter matte wood and then the gloss down here. It's functional, but it works really nicely. The other thing you notice, it's really solid underfoot throughout. It does feel like a quality product when you're walking around inside. Now the dinette, this is nice. These are a little bit firm, but comfortable to sit at whether you're dining, because of course this is your internal dining table, or just sitting back, relaxing, maybe doing a bit of work. And those massive windows that are, you know, so clear from the outside, well, you get the benefit when you're sitting in here. Floor to ceiling over on that side. This one obviously dips just behind this sofa. This is a drop up window, not a drop down window, because they find the drop down windows tend to fill up with water and overflow. So that's quite a clever bit of design. But your view from in here, even though you're trapped inside, is really, really good. The TV is over on that side. That's a one-touch mechanism, so that just pops up. Obviously that is opposite this big piece of sofa, so if you want to watch TV, you've got plenty of space to lie down and enjoy it. Little couple sofa over here, but this is also hiding some more storage. All your plates, glassware, all with its own fiddles. Really, really nicely done. Everything slides away on soft close mechanisms. It's all these little things. I know lots of boat builders do that sort of thing, but they do really think about this stuff, how you're going to live with the boat and how easy it is to live with. And that goes on to things like this area over here. Lots of people, I can understand, may not like having all the switches on show, might want those completely covered away, but I have to say, as the person running this boat, I like the fact that I don't even have to lift the lid just to see how everything is. I can check the lights, check the switches are on, I can check if I'm on generator, shore power, you know, see the feeds coming in. Really easy to do all that without having to lift up the lid, but if you do need to get to it, it's all right there, exactly where you need it to be. No air conditioning on today. This boat has got air conditioning fitted. You can see it all diffuses. It's nicely integrated. All diffuses out of here. We haven't got it on today. There's a nice breeze running, so it's coming through the side, through there, through the back of the boat. You can ventilate it really nicely. Very nice. Right. Somewhere this boat really stands out from the competition is down there on the lower deck. So let's have a look. What makes the layout stand out so much down here is the fact that you haven't got a third bunk cabin. It's two separate beds. You have a twin. In fact, the only other boat in this sector doing that is ironically the Navetta 48. Everything else you're pretty much living with bunk cabins, and you're certainly not going to get the two good sized double cabins you have elsewhere. And interestingly, you have the owner's cabin right forward with its own ensuite, and then you have the guest cabin amidships. Here on the port side, that is also the bathroom that this cabin will use in the evening. And another nice packaging thing that we see throughout this lower deck, the use of pocket doors. Absolute do this all the time. It's so smart. It just means in slightly smaller cabins, you haven't got a door opening into it or opening into the lobby, gobbling up loads of space. They just slide away. You'd never know they were there. But let's start with this twin, shall we? It's just nice that you're not having to clamber in and out of bunks. Certainly if you want to use this for adults, yes, it is tight between the berths. There's no way around that, but you have got two proper separate beds, and it just makes it feel a bit more luxurious than having to clamber into a bunk bed. And you've still got this nice little lobby area. When you come down, you see the sliding door here, so that closes across, but you could get changed here relatively comfortably. You've got a hanging locker behind me for a bit of storage. It's got a nice amount of hull window with an opening porthole. So yes, you can see there are some restrictions overhead, but it feels that bit more luxurious than just being a bunk bed cabin. And as I said, it is connected to that bathroom over the hallway, so it's not too far away. Then we come to the owner's cabin, and again we see the benefit of the use of glass. Cartoonish from the outside, no doubt, but once you're down here, bear in mind the size of this boat again, this is a really lovely cabin, and the angle of it means you can lie down there sitting up in bed and you're looking out over the water. These windows are pretty extraordinary from inside here. The bed also is totally flat around here, so it's easy to move around. I like the fact that right forward they've worked in a bureau, so you can sit on the edge of the bed and do your makeup. There is no skylight, but there is an escape hatch, and inside here, the hidden cupboard. You've got the ladder to get up to that if you need to use it, but that's a decent hanging space as well with some drawer storage too. And of course, it has a private bathroom. That's down there. Again, they've used a pocket door, so it's not gobbling up space in the cabin. There's room in there for a separate shower cubicle, and it's really nicely finished as well. Big sink, lovely mirror, really nice components, and lots of storage too. It's a really impressive cabin, as is the guest cabin, which is midships. Let's head there. With that lovely owner's cabin right forward, this VIP feels like a real treat. Bear in mind, this is not full beam. It's sharing the width of the boat with that twin cabin we saw earlier on. But what a lovely space this is. Nice big double bed. There are some changes to the ceiling heights, but where the floor goes up, often so does the ceiling. So I can still stand, even though you've got this intrusion from the saloon above. There's some nice storage down here. It's all very thoughtfully detailed as well. Nice that you've got the bureau down here as well with a stool. Some storage for jewellery. Incidentally, there is no crew cabin, as you now know. If you want to have some washer dryer facilities, this is where they'd go. So you would sacrifice this if you wanted to have a washer dryer on board. On the Navetta 48 with the crew cabin, it's inside the crew space. So that's just another difference between the two boats. But how about this for a little secret hidey hole? I was not expecting to find such a good full walk-in wardrobe on what is the second cabin. That's better storage than even the owner gets. And that is the point about this layout. This is such a nice cabin that depending on how you want to use the boat, even where you're sleeping, if you're on anchor, you may want to be back here because it's quieter. If you've got the generator on, you might want to sleep up there because it's quieter. But this is just outstanding storage for the second cabin on a boat like this. Really, really great practical stuff. Okay, that's enough talking about it. Let's go and fire it up, see what it can do. Right, as I ease her up through the rev range, other boat builders, take note. This is how I want to be sitting at a helm station. This is not a sports boat, but it doesn't mean I don't want to be in touch with everything. Look at this position. I can slide the seat forward, can sit right back in the chair. The wheel comes right out towards me. It's also adjustable, so I can adjust the height. The throttles are on this plinth, so they're right underneath my arm. So to use the major controls, all I have to do is move my arms. Absolutely perfect. The screen is a little bit of a stretch away, but that's me being incredibly fussy. Most importantly, I can see it really easily, both the bigger MFD, the Raymarine screen, and also the smaller Volvo screen, which I've got all the engine information on. I'm just so in touch with everything. It is perfect. These also bolster, so I can slide it back And if I want to get a bit of a better view forward, I can do that, and I can sit on this raised bit, but I really don't feel like I need to. There's a bit of breeze blowing today, we're going into the wind, we're just climbing onto the plane at 15 knots. I've still got a great view forward. It's got trim assist, of course, so that's going to automatically use the trim blades to help bring the nose down a bit. Not something you really notice from up here on the Flybridge. Performance, well, there's only the one engine option, those IPS650s, 480 horsepower per side, quoted top speed 29 knots. We've seen about 25 flat out today. Now, some caveats: we're in the Saloon, so a bit of tide running, but also this boat's been sitting in the water for a while, so I think there's a fair bit of growth on the props and on the hull, so we are not achieving that top speed. Theoretically, top speed should be 29 knots. You shouldn't be able to cruise at 22 to 25 knots. And when it comes to driving experience, there's not a huge amount much more to report. It is not a boat you engage with all that much, you know. It's designed to cruise at that slower cruising speed. The steering is light, turning circle is quite wide, so it doesn't feel particularly agile, certainly not compared to boats like the Ferretti 500 or the Furline Squadron 50. It's a much more engaging boat to drive. This is just a wafty, wallowy, soft cruiser, really. If you buy into that, it feels great. If you want to have a bit more performance, a bit more bite, a bit more edge, you're going to find yourself a little bit disappointed. And bear in mind, there is that Nevetta 48, which is a semi-displacement boat. That is optimised to cruise at 12 knots, even though it can cruise much higher than that. It's got a similar top speed. It is a boat you'll hand steer through the waves. You know, you've got autopilot, but you will want to hand steer it. And the immediate turn is fine. Because it's IPS, it's light and it's predictable, and you get a reasonable amount of heel. But then the longer turns do take a while. You know, it does not turn back on itself very quickly. It just feels a little bit ponderous. You'll see the bimini is up at the moment. On a breezy day, it's coping just fine. You haven't got little measly strings here. You've got proper stainless steel poles, so that all feels really solid. It's not loud, it's not flapping, it's coping with this breeze really well. And one of the differences about the helm layout with this and the Nevetta 48 is that you have a single seat in the middle. Here you sit to one side, but you have another navigator seat, which I always think is quite nice. But something that they both share is having a lower helm, of course. So we can get away from this breeze, head downstairs and see if it's as good from an ergonomic point of view at the lower helm. When I talk during the tour about this boat being built by people who go boating, it's not just about the things on board, in the cabins and in the galley and on deck. It's about the driving position as well. This has clearly been designed by somebody who spent lots of time behind the wheel at sea, and the ergonomics are, if anything, better down here. Again, I've got an adjustable seat. You can have a bench if you prefer, if you want to have two people up here, but this is fully adjustable, just like upstairs. It slides, bolsters the lot. I can really easily get the wheel into a comfortable position. It adjusts, but it comes out to a nice distance. And also the throttles aren't quite as far out because you have to be able to move out of here, but they still fall to hand really comfortably. So again, I can sit back in my seat, I can see everything, I can interact with everything. Vibe down here is very similar to upstairs. I've got two screens, so I can split my information a bit more easily. There is still the Volvo screen as well. The all-round view is pretty good. The mullions are quite thick, so there are small blind spots, but they have got this nice long window down here, so I can see easily. This is always the place where you get caught out, and that big window does help with that. So when you're standing, it's even better. I've got an even more commanding view of the dashboard. The only place the view lets you down is if you're turning hard to port. Because of the window line, you really have to duck down. It's hard to see over your port quarters, so you're going to be asking your crew to have a look for you if you need to do that. But it romps along really nicely. Now the side door, I love the inclusion of it. It does really help with practicality. But this particular design, it's not one that you can just have ajar. You know, it's either open, fully open, or it's closed. You can't slide it and lock it in place. Also, you can only open it from the inside. So I'm glad that it's there, but it hasn't got, you know, the perfect functionality. It'd be nice just to be able to open it a little bit so you can get some fresh air in here. It's getting quite warm already on this sunny day. And another important factor, because this being an IPS boat, Absolute have been using IPS for longer than pretty much anybody else. The fact it's owner run is what it's like to put into the berth. So let's head into Ocean Valley and see what it's like. Coming into the berth, so on the joystick because it's IPS. I like doing it from down here. I like being close to the crew. Yes, there's a joystick upstairs, but because of the side door, we're going starboard side too as well. So that just, I think, makes it a bit easier to do it from down here. Got the camera up too, so I can see behind me. Annoyingly, the end of the bathing platform isn't in shot. that makes it a bit more difficult for you to judge where the bathing platform is, but at least I can see behind me. I'll tell you what, there's plenty of power with this IPS on this boat. You don't feel like you haven't got enough welly to get it turning. It does rock around a bit though. You can feel the forces coming through the hull, but really, really positive when you engage a tiny bit of joystick. It swings around really nicely. You can check the camera here to make sure not too close to the boats behind me. There's a little bit of tide running, which is actually running us onto the dock, but not too much. Light breeze, low tide as well, so we've got a bit of protection from the basin, and that's just turning really nicely now. But it's really, really potent in and out of gear. So you do get a bit of roll, especially when you're moving sideways. When you come off the joystick quickly, it does sometimes sort of heave around a bit, which is just a symptom you get on these smaller Flybridge IPS boats. But to be honest, I think that is a price worth paying for having such good instantaneous control, and I don't feel like I'm going to lose the bow. You know, there's a really good link between the bow and the stern using the pods. And there you go, that shows how comfortable it is when IPS is properly installed, well engineered, easy to manage. All of that done without the bow thruster. I'd always have the bow thruster for reasons I explain in many of my videos. If you're mooring stern too, it's nice to have that control of the bow. But there, that was in, turn round alongside, all on the joystick. Easy as that. I'm talking the engines, we haven't looked at them yet, so let's go and have a look at the engine room. Here's a nice bit of detail. Often the deck drains run across the door like this, really obvious where they are. On this boat, they've actually worked them, the deck drains, in between the planks here. It looks like the caulking for the teak, but it's actually gaps, so if water does make its way into the cockpit, it drops down there on both sides and won't go into the saloon. Nice touch. This is also how you get into the engine room. Well, the engineering and the thoughtful engineering is much more than skin deep on board this boat. It is really good down here. Of course, because of the size of it, headroom is restricted, but actually once you're down, there's so much space around the engines. It's really, really tidily laid out. So easy to see everything. All the plumbing is super neat, the wiring is neat. 2 filters up on the tanks themselves with sight gauges. You can see how much fuel you've got from down here. Lots of room to move around both engines over the top and outboard. Great access to the pods as well. Often that's forgotten, they'll end up tucked underneath something. And the other benefit of not having so much sort of trickery on deck, if there's nothing impeding headroom back here. So they've even got space to mount the batteries up there and another switchboard. It's really, really good. And I come back to the point, this boat will be run by an owner. They will be down here a lot doing daily service checks, possibly doing some maintenance themselves. And really, for a boat of sub 50 feet, doesn't get much better than this. It's really impressive. There is an awful lot to like about this boat. I just wish that Absolute could sort out the styling a little bit. It is not something you look at and instantly fall in love with. You have to live with it for a bit. Notice all these details I've talked about, you know, in terms of the practical side, living with it, making life easy, a boat designed by people who clearly go boating. There is so much to like about that, but you have to dig beneath the surface a little bit to find those things. In terms of the accommodation though, the interior, it really is top of the class, maybe only bettered by its own stablemate, the Navetta 48. Let me know in the comments below which one you'd choose, this or the Navetta. I'd be interested to see. Thank you for watching that review. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give the video a like if you did. If you'd like to watch our in-depth sea trial of one of its direct rivals, the Galley 500 Fly, I'll put that up there for you. If you'd like to subscribe to YachtBuyer, which we hope you do, you can do that by clicking up here. Thanks again for watching. I'm Jack Haines. This is YachtBuyer.